But we talking about practice right now.
I've been chasing all my dreams, failing isn't meant for me. Fuck all of this foolery, this shit be my destiny. The closest ones ignore your cries, guess the sun don't always shine. Least I know I always tried, nothing happens overnight. I've been chasing all my dreams, failing isn't meant for me. Fuck all of this foolery, this shit be my destiny. The closest ones ignore your cries, guess the sun don't always shine. Least I know I always tried, nothing happens overnight. I do my dance.
So the other way you can look at it is, think of it as a box. So, okay, like a machine. So I like using this as the example a lot. You have this sort of machine. You have two people who are always giving into a startup. The first individual who's giving into a startup is a customer. A customer is giving money to a startup because they want a problem to disappear. So the money that is coming into the startup gets converted to some sort of value, which is either you're adding a sort of benefit or you're reducing a pain. So you're increasing happiness, increasing sadness, convenience, or you're decreasing suffering for someone, right? That's the first individual who invests in you. The second type of individual who invests in you is someone who says, I think you have a system that works. So they've already seen how you're handling your customers and now it's profiting you. And they're like, I have $1. I think, could you confirm that if I give you this $1, what is going to be the net output is going to be $1.75. If you can convince me that my $1 will become $1.75, give me a 0.25 shilling interest rate on what I've given you. You keep the 0.5. Then an investor, the second person who puts the money in, is someone who sees the startup as a machine and can multiply money. So, two ways to define it. A machine that increases value, multiplies value. So someone feeds in their problems, and they give you money, and the problems disappear, and you make more money from it. The other way is someone gives you money, and they want that money to increase in value. That's a startup to me. How would one person get into a startup? I think the easiest way to say this, again, like I said, the ones who know their why will stay there the longest. So I would go for two things. The first thing, look at people, sit with people, and talk to people.
People.
It's people. It's become like these days, people have tech skills, people have software engineering skills, people can write code and all that, and it's okay. I'm not saying it's bad. But I feel like people have deviated into making that the whole point of solving problems. So if you're not writing code, it's not like you're solving a problem. If you're not doing something on the back end or front end, and then people then are using writing code as an excuse or as a substitute of doing the real work of talking to people, because you can't find out what real problems are if you can't talk to people. You can't find out what people are missing, what people are complaining about if you don't talk to people. The first thing is you talk to people. The second thing, you become incredibly good at building and convincing people. And that's why one of my other things I tend to believe in is good startups, all great startups are kind of cults.
At the end of the day.
They're kind of cults.
Why? Let me just take you back for
Yeah.
a minute. You've mentioned that people are focused on the coding, the writing of code, basically the process instead of what makes the process work. Like your why for the process is what I'm understanding.
Yeah.
I think that's a reflection of like the current work culture we are facing right now. It's look at football, for example. Football stopped being entertaining and it became about XG and CG, the number of touches and what. There's no
there was the life in it. Like a long shot and a long pass from I don't know where.
Right now, like the coach is just there seated with a tab. Your numbers are not good. You might be playing well, but your numbers are...
The skill is there, but in fact, the skill is now being punished. Because we saw Ryan Shaki the other day when he was juggling the ball in the middle of the game. It's a good skill to have, but like...
The comment section is going to be on fire for this one. You people.
As an Ali fans.
Greetings, sir.
Yeah. The comment section is hot. Mm-hmm.
Well, the point I wanted to make was it's very similar to what we're facing. I think it's a Gen Z problem, if I'm not wrong. Like we've come with a mentality that is so objective focused that we miss the process.
Yep.
That the objective is making you go through. We miss the growth. You want to be there as a machine. You want to just be there and
churning output.
Literally,
like a robot.
Literally, we're more focused on output than on the growth that will bring you said output.
Precisely. I don't know if I can even add anything more to that, because I think we are majoring on the minors.
Anthony Maina. Very interesting.
We are majoring on the minors, and that's unfortunate. Yeah.
It's the world we're at right now. But let's just go back to startups.
Yeah.
What's the process of building a startup?
So I would like to tie that. There was a thought I'd left hanging somewhere, now I can pick it up.
Uh-huh.
Good startups are like cults.
Drop the temperature. Hold that thought. Good startups are like cults.
Great startups are like cults. I'm holding that thought fast. Yeah. How are you feeling? Yeah.
I wanted to drop it a bit. Because I saw that this guy he's enjoying his afternoon nap. I'm like, hey.
Bro, I think that's the reason why. Anyway. So, back to the point. Great startups are like cults. And the reason why, when you look at cultic behaviors, you study them and you realize they are started by someone who knows how to influence people. And that's the context. Not because you're doing juju at night or whatever. It's because for you to run a successful startup, a lot of times you need to learn how to rally people. Again, the one thing which can never be substituted, like I said in the first point, startups are about solving problems for people. So people. If you also have wrong people, you have people who you don't like working with, you have people who you don't agree with, you're going to spend a lot of time mediating disagreements than actually getting real work done. Which is why the two fronts, I think the one front is have people you're building for. Number two, take into critical focus the type of people you're onboarding. And the one thing which people don't also realize is that you are entirely responsible as a founder for the people that you have around you.
Your team.
Yeah, the team you're the one who brought them together. They either came to you and you accepted them in to your team, or you went out and hunted for them. If they came around, it's because they saw something which you were displaying unknowingly, and they kind of agreed with it, and they're like, by the way, I would work under the leadership of this person. If you went out after them, it's because you saw something in them, and the only reason why they're there is because you believed in them. So you're amplifying something about them. If you are then unable to control or get a team that you can control and manage and you can actually work with, and the best test to also give yourself is when you're trying to onboard people to work within your startup, assume two things. One, would these people be okay if I took 80% of the company? That
would anyone be okay if you took 80% of the company?
That denotes trust. Worst case scenario, because also this is something which investors take into account. If everybody has equal shares, then if I have seen the idea is really viable, let's say with 7 of us, the highest shareholder has maybe 10% of the company, maybe we've allocated 30%, and then the other one has been distributed, right? 30% to the investors. I can come in as an investor, I take the 30% of the pie that you give me, but now it makes all of you cumulatively weaker. Why? Because I know Maina might have a dream to fly to London to go watch Arsenal. No. So what I tell Maina, sorry, Manchester United. He has a dream to go and live in Manchester for 4 months.
Manchester, the weather is bad.
It's been his, it's an assumption. It's been his childhood dream. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell Maina.
You've not seen the Kobe Mainu post like this?
No.
I'll show it to you.
Okay, I need to see it. So it's going to be like, I'm going to Maina, I know your dream. I know what you want to be. Maybe you even have like a debt somewhere, and those guys are coming after you. It's like, by then I know you have a debt, so we're going to settle. I'm going to buy it from you because it's not like you only have 10%. I have enough money to buy 30% of the company. If I am good enough to buy 30% of that company, it's because I really want it, right? So which means I can come buy you out, I can buy the other person out, I can buy the other person out. So it's always advised at the beginning of the company to centralize the shares around one individual who you can trust, and then you can always reallocate them, right? So that's one of the things. And then goes back to, that's not even my main point. The main point is, if those people can't trust you with 80% of the company, it means they don't trust you at all. It means they think you can swindle them. And what you don't realize, trust is the one commodity you can't buy. You can't put a value to trust. It's either you're going to mess them up or you won't mess them up. All that boils down to, do they actually know you well enough or trust you to be a man of your words? Equally, as an individual, if you're going to onboard someone, you're the founder, if you're going to onboard someone and it go to a point where they had to take 80% of the company, would you trust them fully? If you can, then you guys have passed the test. Why? Because then you have, because the one, I don't know, it's advised to do this when you're starting a startup, go and get your co-founder agreements, blah, blah, blah. A lot of the times when you have to settle a lot of things in court, it's actually with the people who had the co-founder agreements, not the ones who didn't have them. You have a lot of the best founding teams in the world running without co-founder agreements. Not saying you shouldn't have them, just saying if you need to have them to ensure there is trust within the team,
You should.
then you're done. Then it means you can barely survive when the storm comes because trust is not running within the company. So one, onboard the best people and onboard people you can trust. The other thing is you also need to do this test. If you were to leave the company or you were to die, do you think there's someone who could exactly do what you're doing and perhaps to a better scale, to a bigger degree or to a bigger scale? And that's one of the things that we've discovered while building Hackhouse. The co-founders we have there, they don't have to be there all the time. Why? Because they know if I leave, there's my friend Ted. If Ted is not around, there's Nick. Nick is not around, you have someone, and things run okay. With them being present, with them being absent, life goes on. We know nobody's going to mess up. They are equally skilled. They won't go on sleep mode because there's nobody watching over them. Everyone has what you call equal and shared responsibility. I will say this. This does not feel like it's going to be the juicy part of the meat. This is the part where everybody just ignores, like, okay, whatever. Now tell us the tips. Tell us step 1, step 2, step 3. I'll say this. If you don't get this one right, it doesn't matter how good the idea is. Because the one thing I also know, if you had 2 options, maybe you can give me an answer. You have 2 options. Have the best founding team in the world with the worst idea as your starting point, or the best idea but the worst founding team. Which one would you choose?
And pick a good team with a bad idea. Because
Why?
you can always change ideas.
There you go. Ideas also evolve. Even good ideas can become bad. Right?
With
Ideas,
time,
they become bad, especially when the founding team is horrible. Everything you touch fizzles. There's a book I read when I was young. It's one of the mindsets, and it's one of the things I also like I usually want to do. It's called Maida's Touch of Gold.
Midas touch.
Maida's Touch of Gold. I don't know, Midas, whatever.
Depends on your English teacher.
Depends on my English. Are you trying to say about my English teacher? Anyway, so this guy has this ability. He talks to a fairy, and the fairy says, whatever you wish, just tell me. And like, I want everything I touch
To turn to gold.
to turn into gold. It's a bad thing on one end, of course, because he ended up touching his daughter, and the daughter became gold, which is horrible. But on the other hand, it's a mindset. Like, whatever you touch actually becomes gold. That's what you want an ideal founding team. Like, you could have the worst starting point. You could be in the worst situations, worst conditions possible. But you have this mindset that whatever you guys will touch will become something valuable. So I think that would be the juiciest part of the meat for me. The question it asked was, now how do you build one?
Yeah, like, okay, not how that would take hours. How to summarize the process of like, okay, so this is the problem we
Step
want
1,
to solve.
step 2, step 3,
This
done.
is the team. We have sort of established that the team has to be better than the idea for this whole thing to work out. So now we are getting to the nitty-gritty of how do we get it done?
Okay, so how do you get it done? You have a good idea and you have it doesn't have to be the best idea, but you have observed a problem that is persistent enough. So of course is what I use. There's also a metric to quantify or qualify what a good idea is and what a bad idea is. It occurs frequently enough. You can actually profile and say, I know Kamau who lives in Kamukunji who has this problem and they've been having this way.
You have to go that in depth. It's not that you just take a common problem, a blanket problem, and then you...
And that's the problem we're having with ChatGPT right now. Because you can actually go online and ask ChatGPT to give you, like say you just come up with an assumption and give it to ChatGPT and say, by the way, I'm thinking this is the problem that I want to build a startup for. You can run this test yourself. ChatGPT will even give you data.
From nowhere.
I don't know where they get the data from. That's the thing. Because I think it hallucinates. Maybe there's some existing statistics. But you see, for a statistic to be true, it has to be carried out so frequently for us to validate that it's actually something you can anchor your faith on. You need to know where it actually came from and how many people have gone through that. A lot of the times you find that the research which you're using, you're anchoring your ship on, is research which was conducted in 2013. How relevant is that in 2026? Almost not so relevant, right? So what you want to do is fine, you can use AI is able to help you on a lot of fronts. What AI can't give you is the assurance that you get from having one person. And that's what many people don't get. Like you want to focus on when you're going for the pitch competition, you're going to say, what is the market? Like, what is the market size? You're going to say, we have 1 million people. But I'm going to ask you, name me one person for you to believe it's true. And let me say this. You're not doing this because you want to convince the investor. You're doing this because you want to convince yourself. If you don't have a single person who you can say, I'm building this for this person, I'm building for this family, or I'm building for this subset of individuals, I know who they are, I know how much money they make, I know how the problem affects them, I know the consequences of not solving the problem, I know what current alternatives they have. If you can't pinpoint it that way, I don't think you can go on and let's say, writing code, building code is the easiest part. Getting that one person is the most difficult part of, because it will be frustrating. You'll move and you'll talk to people and you'll think that's them, but they'll tell you I'm not the person. Or you go to them and they're the person, but they don't want to give you the money for it. So you have to keep on iterating upon the people. And people are the limiting factor in a lot of startups. So you find someone just comes up with an idea, goes ahead building the team. But if you've never met someone who's going through that problem, if you've never interviewed them on a short Google meeting, how do you have assurance that you can get 1 million more people? 1 million people like who? Because at least I have one person I can say, 1 million people like this one.
Yeah.
Like my market is looking like 1 million person like
this one.
Like this one. Someone just wakes up and says the market is 1 million because ChatGPT says it's 1 million. It's not true. You need evidence for it. What also that gives you in the long run, because now the first step is you've discovered the problem and with your team you've discovered the problem, you've agreed on the area of commonality. The second thing is I'd usually say talk to people. People will want to go, when you see a problem, it's also another mental flaw that we have. If you see a snake, the reaction is not to ask why the snake is here. Right?
Yeah.
You don't pause and say, what
are you doing?
Is this a green mamba or what is this, right? What you do is you instinctively run. It's the fast solution. And that's the thing. We are wired to think problem, solution. It's not a bad thing, but it's not the best thing because it means for every problem, we will always have a solution. It exists here. Why that thing is a very bad thing? When you have a problem and you instinctively come up with a startup idea, it's really bad. It's because you don't see through. The mind sees, again, the mind has the mind ever felt pain? Like,
No.
has your brain been punched to know its pain?
Can your brain even like actually? It can.
Yeah.
It has pain receptors.
Nociceptors. But the thing is, that aside, the brain doesn't know what pain is, right? But the other parts of the body know what pain is.
Yeah.
The brain has not interacted with the real world because your hands have. Your hands touch stuff and they have. What exists in the brain is always ideal. And that's the problem. Like, the mind always comes up with ideal situations. Everything you can fantasize. By the way, when you're fantasizing, you'll always fantasize almost the worst possible outcomes or the best possible outcomes. No middle ground. Like, you'll never imagine something just kienyeji. Like, the best or the worst. Extremes. So it's the same thing with ideas. A lot of those times, you're thinking of an idea which can come to life. I'm not saying it can't. But you're thinking of an idea which will come to life in quantum leaps. Like, it will take step 1, then step 2. Yes, you're seeing the end goal, and that's what the brain wants to see. But if you try to build it right now, you'll fail because you need to take baby steps. That can only be realized, again, you self-pace yourself by limiting yourself to talking and building upon what you've agreed on with an actual user. So go ahead, talk to a user. Talk to someone who would like to onboard as your customer. Helps you test your assumptions. Once you've confirmed your assumptions against them, then you can sell. This is actually someone I could sell my product to. Then you move on to ideation. So once you've done you've identified the problem, go to the market, find 5 people, find 10 people, 500 people if you can, and out of that statistic, get at least one person who you are sure I can continue this journey of building with. If I fail, I know I'll have provided solutions to at least one person. Move on to the next step. Ideation. Now that you have one person, and this is usually the limiting factor, now that you have one person, you can always run multiple tests to see what is the most favorable for your potential customer. You can always go back to the 1,000 people you have on your waiting list and tell them, by the way, we have version 1. We want you to test it out and give us feedback. Then when they tell you, by the way, version 1 is work, give us version 2, and it needs to have 1, 2, 3 things. It helps you build.
You're learning.
Exactly. You iterate and you learn in that process. So step 1, problem. Step 2, market research. Step 3, ideation. There's multiple steps that you can things that you can use for ideation. There's a technique like scamper technique. What can you substitute? What can you amplify? What can you? It's like there's things you can remove from an existing product. What can I create anew? What can I substitute from an existing product to make it better? Like, there's multiple ways to come up with ideas. What you want to do, again, there's a concept I call opportunity cost. Maina, if you take your time today, you've taken your time today. There's another place you could have been today. But it makes sense for you to be here today because it's perhaps the best possible alternative you had for your day today, which is why you're here. Same thing with me. I could have been anywhere else, but I think I'll have the highest return on my time investment by being here. But does not eliminate that there's a possibility you could have been somewhere else today and you would have gained a lot more.
Opportunity cost means the value of a foregone commodity.
There you go. So which means a lot of times, and I discourage people who just have ideas, because for that one problem, how many solutions could we have? Millions of solutions. What you want to do is not spend the rest of your life working on a solution that will not give you the best or highest return on investment. So it means you need to actually take time and go through the ideation process really well. There's a good chance you can just come up with an idea and it succeeds, but a lot of times it doesn't happen that way. You're prone to select the wrong idea. You're prone to select the wrong pathway, which means you need to be a lot more intentional because you might just be giving out the best years of your life working on something which will never benefit you, will never profit anybody in the world, and you don't want to lose. Like, you'd rather go and apply for that opportunity with Microsoft and work with Microsoft for the rest of your life than lose the best years of your life where you had a chance with Microsoft and you never have a chance with Microsoft again.
Later, yeah.
Exactly. So select the idea very intentionally. Once you've selected the idea, you have a good team, you can put together a product, and you have a good idea. Now you have a good idea because you've selected from a pool, which gives you the shielding effect from failure. You have a great team, which means they are really well capable. They ship fast. They have an execution culture. You guys have a cordial culture as well. We're not having a lot of company inconveniences from interpersonal issues and challenges. And then the other thing is you have as advantages, you have about 100 people or 10 people or 2 people that you're building for that can tell you by this will work or this one doesn't work for me, right? It gives you some sort of assurance, assurity. From that, go ahead, build a prototype. It doesn't have to be the most expensive thing. Many people spend too much money. You don't have to spend too much money. Just what do you have? Make do with what you have. Build it, present it, then iterate over with time. At the end of the day, the only thing you need to convince an investor is you have a great team. That's what I was building towards. You have a great team. You have early adopters, or you have the promise of early adopters. And number 3 is that you have something functional that just does the work. When you get more money, you're able to modify every other thing and make it better. You're able to reach 1,000 more people. You're able to build a better product, which you can now sell for more amount of money, etc., etc.
Right, let's use an example to make this practical. Let's use Prime, the energy drink. Because Prime came up when 2020.
Yeah, I think with Messi, right? Yeah.
KSI first, and then they brought Akina Messi later on. If you look at Prime as a startup, now don't look at it as a $1 billion company because they've already gotten to that point. Shockingly, by the way,
they might still be a startup, by the way, as a $1 billion company.
Serious?
Oh yes, because a startup is a mindset. It's not where the company is, but I'll say it later.
So now break it down in terms of like Prime. Like if you were KSI right now, break down Prime as a startup.
So there are 2 concepts I've fallen in love with, and I keep telling founders this. One, build in public. Build in public. Perhaps it's a verse in the Bible, right? In the Holy Book. Who lights up his lamp and then puts it under his bed? Nobody does that. You shouldn't do that, right? If you have something that you're doing, just put it out there. Let people see it. Let people criticize it. It's fine. For all the right reasons. Not because you're seeking attention, but you just never know who's watching. And that's one of the things about social media. It's made it easy for someone who's in the US, because we've had such people coming in, for example, for hackouts. Like someone watches a reel from the US, another person watches it from the UK, and they're like, I like what you guys are doing. Can I come? Then they come, and how can I be a part of this? And all the goodies are coming in, right? You never know who's watching, and that's a good thing. And that we also say again, no publicity is bad publicity. So 1, build in public. Number 2, which is another thing which again we can allude to from that conversation we're having still, is distribution. It's a lot easier. Let me tell you, anybody could have had the idea for Prime. Anybody could have had the idea for an energy drink. Anybody could have had it. The only advantage I think KSI has, and which is why also the influencers we're having today have, is distribution. It's easier and faster access to customers. We're running on an attention economy, which means if I have to make an impression, I will have to be the first in that game, right?
And you'll have to make a pretty loud impression.
And there, the thing is, even if, so 2 alternatives. You'd let me know which situation you'd like to be in again. The first scenario is, let's say you are a finance student, okay? But we have 2 finance students. You and I are finance students. Let me know which one you like. You're a finance student. You are always getting the biggest and the highest GPA, okay? That's one of the alternatives. And maybe you also know how to code. So you're trying to build a fintech app, finance app, maybe to help people track how much money they're spending in a day. For that reason, whatever reason it might be. You have no presence on LinkedIn, no presence on Instagram, no presence on TikTok. You're just there. On the other hand, You have this guy who gets a GPA of 2.1, is a popular streamer, has over 700,000 followers across all social media platforms. They build the wackiest of apps. Who do you think is going to win in that race?
Unfortunately, the streamer, they have faster distribution to customers.
They have
better reach.
They have better reach with the customers. Which perhaps, again, goes back to the whole point of how education might be falsifying what actually is relevant, right? It's okay, get a skill, be the best. Don't remove the human component. Because at the end of the day, you will go back to work with human beings, for human beings. You will go out there to help streamline lives of human beings. So the closer you are to human beings, the more human beings you can reach out to, the more human beings who can buy, who have purchasing power you can reach out to as a startup, the more distribution you have, the more leverage you have, which I usually say, I would rather work with a creator who has 100K followers. They can, yes, people can say it's about noise and blah, blah, blah. It's about making noise and hype and etc. But the one thing which you can never run away from is that the moment they put out something, 100K people are talking about it.